Herzlich willkommen, mein Name ist Claudia Hoppe. Das ist Folge 26 meines Podcasts. Ich habe heute nochmal einen englischsprachigen Gast und ansonsten eine absolute Weltpremiere für mich. And now I switch to English. This used to be an improv podcast. However, I've decided to open this a bit up and also talk to people who are not improvisers in the first place, but do something awesome and very inspiring nevertheless. So this month I'm talking to Lyndsey Cockwell. She's the founder of the Berlin Pop Choir and the Berlin Pop Ensemble. Hello, Lyndsey.
Hello, nice to be here.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time to talk to me. Lyndsey, as I mentioned, this used to be an improv podcast. Have you ever been playing improv?
I have, in fact. There was an improv session that used to happen just around the corner from here in the New Orleans house. This is a few years ago, and I did a session there, and I loved it.
Yeah. Do you remember who facilitated this or who organized?
I forget the guy's name. A man. He wasn't from Berlin. He wasn't German. I forget, but it was really fun. Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I've been involved with improvised music, so I wasn't a stranger to the kind of the dynamic. But I mean, obviously, physical, more theatrical kind of improvisation is something new.
Yeah, nice one. Lyndsey, where are you from?
I'm from England. I was born in Bristol, in the west of England. And I've been living in Berlin. Well, I'm still kind of backwards and forwards between Berlin and England, but I've been here around 7 years, spending a lot of time in Berlin.
Oh, yeah. And why have you decided to move to Berlin? What was the carrot or the trigger that brought you here?
Music and being an artist and being a performer. I mean, as everybody knows, London is really expensive and a hard place to live. I lived there for 20 years or nearly 20 years. Really loved London. And then I was ready for something else. And I used to come here and perform quite often, doing singer-songwriter, my own projects. I had friends here, and I did that classic thing where you keep visiting, and then your stays get longer and longer, and you eventually one day realize you don't go home so often anymore.
Okay. And how do you like Berlin?
I love it. I really, really love it. It's perfect for me. I think, like a lot of people, I loved it the first time I came here. But there's something about Berlin that somehow I can work. I don't have to work full time at another job to also be a musician here, which is incredible. And I love it. Yeah.
Is there something you like best about it? Like some place or something very Berlin specific?
To be honest, being able to cycle everywhere is my favorite thing. That actually was one of the main reasons that made me not want to be in London anymore, was how the length of time it takes to get to anywhere, to travel anywhere. The public transport is such a drama in London. And you can cycle, but it's really dangerous, and it's getting better, I hear now. But the difference of being here and I just cycle everywhere.
And would you say that this is the biggest difference from between London and Berlin, the cycling and also the prices?
Pretty much, yeah.
Because in terms of size, it's pretty similar, I think.
Is it? Yeah.
I would say so.
It doesn't feel like so many people
in Berlin.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. That's the main difference, and of course, how well everything is organised here. It makes a big difference. It is very German. But I've come to really appreciate that. Now I go home and I have to wait more than 10 minutes for the bus, and they don't and it doesn't arrive exactly on time, and I get really frustrated. So I guess I'm becoming a Berliner now.
Yeah, I remember one small episode when I was in London. There was this sign at the entrance of the tube, and it says this line has interruption, and this line and circle line, and I think it was 9 lines which had some kind of whatever interruption, and then they had the sentence, all other services running normal. And I was like, what? What other services?
Like walking. Walking is running normally, but everything else is delayed.
Nevertheless, is there anything you miss from London or England in general?
I do miss the idiosyncrasies of English life. Idiosyncrasies.
What does that mean?
The weird little things. The strangeness of England. There's a certain humour there, I suppose. That's really good. And a certain kind of, things are a little bit weird, but that's okay. So although I maintain there's a lot more similarities between English life and German life than people like to admit. I think we're a bit more similar.
English people or German people?
I mean, they're more similar to each other.
But who wouldn't admit it? The English ones or the German?
I think the English don't, it's quite a xenophobic place in England. So they like to think that they're, no one else is like them. And they're a little bit better. But in England, people still talk about Europe as somewhere that, is across the sea. It's they don't see themselves as Europe when, of course, England is part of the EU.
So, and now it's been 7 years that you've been living in Berlin, like as your first home base, so to say. And what did you do before that time when you were in England or in London?
I worked in a corporate office job and still always doing music and creative things on the side. But I worked for charities for some time, and then I worked in the evil corporate grind for a while. And
what company, if I may ask?
It was for the government. I worked for the UK government, working on their website. I worked with, and I still do work with some, with content editing and language work. And
what is your, learned profession, so to say? Where are you coming from, profession-wise?
Well, I trained in music for about 10 years. From the age of 7 up to 17, I was studying classical piano, and I did a lot of that work. But then I think I realized that, I was worried that if I studied it too hard, that I would lose the passion and the love of it. And my other big love was literature and writing. So that's what I studied at university, was English literature. And that's how I did bits of journalism and got into editing and online work. So that was kind of, and I mean, ironically now I've come back around the other side where I'm, really studying all music theory again. And really, but yeah, so it's between words and sounds.
And besides the studying of classical music, what educational background do you have? Did you study anything, or did you learn a certain kind of profession or something like that? Or was it more like learning by doing the
It was really more learning by doing. I studied English literature, and then I started writing for magazines, clubbing guides. I used to be a sort of journalist writing for club magazines. And in terms of the teaching and the singing stuff, I never really did a formal, pedagogish kind of how to teach choirs. I really made it up as I went along, and I think has been really useful, because people tell me, and I'm pretty sure that nobody else is doing what I'm doing, and they're not doing it the way I'm doing it. And I think if I'd have gone and studied how to be a choir leader, I would have it would have been quite different. I've ended up really responding to the people that are there, and really working with the group and the people that come, and really putting the emphasis on enjoying what we do and having fun and loving singing, rather than coming from a more formal point of view of, this is a choir and we're all going to read music and we're all going to get it exactly right. I think what we do is a lot more spontaneous and a lot more non-academic, let's say.
Yeah, it's actually very nice. So we will talk about your work with the Berlin Pop Choir and the Berlin Pop Ensemble in a minute. Before that, is there when did you decide to make music your profession?
Well, I think now, I think when I was 3, probably even younger, it's one of those things. It was, music has always been the only thing that really that I love and that really matters to me. Like I said, literature also is something that I really loved. Studying it kind of took the fun out of it, as it does. But, of course, music was there from the beginning. I would listen to the charts every Sunday, and I would write down all of the songs. And I was really, I was obsessed with pop music and obsessed with the charts. And as I got older, then I started to buy records, and, you know, of course, then I wanted to be a pop star, like so many young people do. So I think I always knew I wanted music to be my profession, but I wasn't.
And when did you make it your profession? Like your very first, what earned you living?
I'm really with the Berlin Pop Choir.
Okay.
I mean, I survived a little bit over, you know, periods of doing my own music and writing my own songs, but especially in London, it was never really something that you can wholly live off of. You can wholly live from. But since I got here, really, it's become. I still do some other work, but this is the main thing now.
Mm-hmm. And are there any instruments you're playing?
Yeah, lots. Pretty much anything. I studied piano, and I think, you know, when you study piano, you can kind of, that leads to just about anything else. So piano, I started playing guitar at 17. I play bass. I got very into sort of improvised music and avant-garde music, and I started working with tape recorders, with sound, with samples. So I've done a lot of that kind of work. So I'm quite good with technology and with studio stuff. I just bought an auto harp recently, which is like an Appalachian American traditional kind of instrument. I kind of, properly piano and guitar and bass.
Mm-hmm. Triangle,
drums, kazoo. I've got the choirs at the moment playing kazoos and.
Nice one. And besides the Berlin Pop Choir and the Berlin Pop Ensemble, is there anything else you do here in Berlin on a regular basis?
Yeah, I still do editorial work for the Max Planck Institute, and I still do work back in England. I have jobs over there, and yeah.
Editorial work, what does that mean? So you review texts that they do? Or?
Like a lectorin. So when people who aren't native speakers write texts in English, they need someone to go over and to, you know,
I see.
Tweak it up a little bit, or write texts for websites or stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, okay. And talking about the Berlin Pop Choir, what is the Berlin Pop Choir?
Well, the Berlin Pop Choir, we like to say, is the first community choir in Berlin, and it's suddenly a few years ago it became community choirs became huge in England, and the idea is that you don't have to read music, and there's no audition, and it's not about, you know, it's not aimed at people that have particular music skills. It's just open to everybody, and anyone can join in. So I went to one in England. A friend of mine was running, and I kind of knew immediately. I thought, I can do this. So I started one in Berlin, and I started with about six or seven people in my living room. And now it's grown from anything from, you know, around 120 to 150. Sometimes we're even up to like over 200 people a night. Wow. And I think what I'm doing quite differently as well is it's completely spontaneous, and people can just drop in. And I think that's something that not everyone is used to with a choir. And that seems to be the thing that people love, is that they don't have to commit, and they don't have to say, oh, you know, I'm going to be a permanent member. They can just drop in as they like. So that makes my job a little bit hard, because I never know who I'm getting. And there are regulars, but it's also, I never know who's going to be there that night. So we sing pop songs. I do all the arrangements myself. We meet for periods of 10 weeks, although people can drop in and out of that. We meet for 10 weeks, and then we do a big performance at the end in our home of Monster Runsons. And that's, you've been along yourself. It's full of energy, and I think what gives me the energy as well is it's so clear that everyone is just enjoying singing so much. And I really design the arrangements so they can be learnt really quickly, and everybody can just learn them and sing along without too much work. I do all the work.
Yeah, cool. And how and when did you have the idea for the Berlin Pop Choir or the Berlin Pop Ensemble, which you also have?
Yeah, the ensemble is a little bit different. The ensemble it does have an audition and does have music, and it's kind of sort of a bit more what you might expect from a traditional choir, except it's still not. It's still people keep going, oh, it's so relaxed and fun, and I was like, oh, well, what do the other choirs do? And apparently it's a lot more.
So what was there first, the choir or the ensemble?
It was the Berlin Pop Choir.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Berlin Pop Choir got bigger and bigger. It started, I mean, it was, it took quite a while to get to around 20 people, and then it suddenly kind of exploded once we moved to Monster Ronsons, and then suddenly it was 40, 60, 80. I think it also...
When did you start with the Berlin Pop Choir?
2009.
2009,
And yeah, I think singing has become more of a seen as more of a kind of a thing that younger people do as well, I think. So I think Berlin's pop choir, I think choirs have got more popular in Berlin. There was a big article in City about several different choirs, and we were one of them. And the idea was like, singing is hip, and it's okay. You can come out of the closet and admit you're in a choir again.
Yeah, nice. So how did you have the idea to do this? As
I said, in England, there was suddenly an explosion of these community choirs, and they were everywhere. And I thought, well, I'll do one in Berlin.
Mm-hmm. And you have already been living here in Berlin, right? If it was 2009, and you said you live here for 7 years.
Well, I mean, it's always been very much between Berlin and England, kind of, between the two. So yes, I was around Berlin a lot, and then I just thought this was the place to start my idea of a choir. So I started it, and then as time went on, we were getting bigger and bigger, and I thought there was a need for a sort of a more focused choir, and one where people are more committed. And I think I needed that challenge as well. Mm-hmm. So we do, in the Berlin Pop Ensemble, we do more difficult arrangements, and people are there every week, and it's not a drop-in choir, and we work a bit more towards performances. So it's still very relaxed, fun feel, but a little bit more developed.
And was there also a need from the people that they got more ambitious, that they said like, come on, this Berlin Pop Choir is nice, but like I want to do more, and I want to do it in a more professional way?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Because I think the one side is that of the drop-in thing is that anyone can come, and it's really fun and relaxed. But the other side is if you want to develop it a bit more, and you're coming every week, maybe you're going over things again and again, and maybe you've got some more musical skills and you want a bit more of a challenge. So people were very, I mean, in fact, I set up the ensemble because people were asking for it.
Okay.
So someone even said, I'll do all the admin. I'll be the sort of, the coordinator. Just let's do it. So that now the Berlin Pop Ensemble is about 30 people. So that's also
quite big already.
Quite big. Yeah, but we're sounding great.
And how often a year do you start with a Berlin Pop Choir?
It's about 4 times a year. So we have just had the first course starting in January, and then we have the 10 weeks, and then a month break in between, and then the next one. So there's about 4 in a year.
Mm-hmm. And how can people join this? So they
just turn up. Just turn up.
Okay.
I would advise people to come early, because the doors open at 7 and then the class starts at 7:30. And particularly at the beginning of a course, it's crazy. I mean, it's so busy. There can be lines out the door. By the time we get to about the middle of the course, it's got a bit more quiet again.
And have you had the situation where you couldn't let people in because it was too crowded already?
No, we just keep letting them in. I mean, everyone keeps saying. I remember when there were 60 people, and people were saying, "Oh, it's too busy now. Now, there's not enough room anymore." I mean, now we're up to like 220, so, occasionally. So. Eventually what I did was I used to stand in the middle of the room, and everyone would stand in a circle, and then the circle got bigger and bigger until eventually I now stand on the stage, and I have a great guy called Johnny who plays guitar, and so he plays the guitar. I used to play the guitar and teach and do the door and all the publicity and all the marketing. It was like that for a long time. And now Johnny plays guitar, I concentrate on the teaching, I'm on stage with a microphone and we have a PA and we've just started projecting lyrics on a screen. So it's all, then there's more room. There's more room for people to come.
Yeah, nice. And what would you say, what kind of people normally join the Berlin Pop Choir?
Well, people from, all walks of life and all different nationalities, which I really love. I do teach in English, so then you do automatically get quite a mixed crowd, but a lot of German people. At a certain point, a lot of people come from all over the place. They come from Potsdam, they come from Brandenburg, they come from Steglitz, they come from all over Berlin, and it's surprising how far people travel, to come. We have people from every European country, from Bulgaria, from France, from England, from Canada, from India, from Japan, from everywhere. So it's a very mixed crowd. I'd say we have people probably from about age 20 right up to people in their 60s, which I was really happy to have such a large age range. Tends to be people around 30 or, somewhere around here. We have a lot of men, which is quite unusual.
Yeah, interesting indeed. Yeah. Although I have to say, I need to spoil a bit because I watched some videos on YouTube also from the Berlin Pop Ensemble. Yeah. And if I remember correctly, there were not as many men.
Well, it's changing a lot. We're up to now we have about 30 people in the ensemble and it's about 10 men. Mm-hmm. So it's getting, it's a lot for a choir. Normally they really struggle to find men. We have a bass section and a baritone section and a tenor section, all there. And soprano and alto, of course. Yeah.
And you play then the shows 4 times a year. So basically after every
for the Berlin Pop Choir.
For the choir.
Yeah, they're about 4 a year, and we used to do more performances, but it became a bit unmanageable as we got bigger and bigger. We've been on the Voice of Germany, and we've sung at Fusion Festival, and we've all kinds of different festivals around the city, and lots of different things. Now there's not so many with the whole big choir, but definitely these 4 shows a year at Monster Ransons, although I'm hoping we're going to be doing something with Berlin Music Week, and the ensemble do more of the small festivals and things like that.
Mm-hmm. And how do you structure your lessons or the classes?
Well, start with a warm-up, and it's kind of warm-up and icebreaker sort of time. So I really encourage people to move around the room, because I think also when, as you know, when people are just physically standing in one space, they're sort of in their own little world. They've probably had a hard day at work, and they're, feeling a bit shy, especially because a lot of people come and say, "Oh, but I can't sing," and I'm like, "Everybody can sing. Don't worry, just come." And so I get people walking around, moving around, talking to each other. One of the things I'm really proud of is how many people have made such good friends in the Berlin Pop Choir. There's quite a regular crew now, and lots of people come to the choir when they're quite new in Berlin and end up making lots and lots of friends. And so we have a warm-up icebreaker thing at the beginning, maybe sing a canon, maybe do a little bit of work on maybe breathing or something. And then we move into doing the songs, and we do 2 songs each week. Mm-hmm. And then we build up. There's normally 4 or 5 songs each course, and then we build them up till we perform them at the end. Mm-hmm. Occasionally we do something like we did last night, where we do a bonus song, and then we just do 1 song in one night, and we make a video afterwards, and then we put that up on YouTube really quickly. Everything goes on YouTube at the end.
Yeah. So what song did you do then last night?
Last night we did Tiffany. I think we're alone now. Yeah, and it was great. It was online within a couple of days, and Tiffany herself found the song, tweeted it, and told us how much she liked it. So
this is so really cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
it's great when an artist actually sees what you're doing.
But I have no clue what she's doing, because I remember I looked her up in Wikipedia some time ago, because I think when she did the song, I think we're alone now. She was like 17 or something.
Yeah, she was a teenager going around the shopping centres.
Yeah, exactly. And that was, I don't know, 1987 or something like that. So,
but I saw from her Twitter account, she runs a vintage shop now.
Interesting.
Into clothes and things. And I think she also still does some performing and some singing.
Oh, cool. And maybe coming back to the rehearsals, what interests me, so when you do songs, and you say you do 2 songs per evening, do you do them like line by line, or do you always rehearse the full song and then, I don't know, 5 times after each other, or do you do certain lines, or just the refrain, or just the
No, it's because we've got 10 weeks to learn 4 or 5 songs, so I break them down, and what I've kind of started to create more of a regular pattern. So the first 2 or 3 weeks of a course, there's lots of new people coming to check it out, see if it's for them. So I tend to do 2 very simple songs, and pretty much, I mean, obviously there's the strophe and the refrain, and then sometimes we'll do a middle 8, and sometimes I do a strange breakdown, and we do maybe something more rhythmic. So I normally take a bit. First, near the beginning of the course, we'll do the refrain. We'll just start with the refrain, and we'll maybe do a strophe. Then we'll move on to another song. And as the course progresses, it's like, okay, we need to learn the middle 8 of this song now. And then we're going to work out how to end this song and how to start this song. So I kind of break each song down into beginning, ending, verses, chorus, and sometimes a middle 8. And then I just, we learn them bit by bit in quite a kind of a modular way. So, and this is all part of the way people can just drop in. So maybe there's a new song that they don't know yet, but they remember the chorus from the other song we're doing that night. So there's always something people will know, and something new.
And how are the songs chosen? How do you choose?
Maybe what you said earlier about what was it, Bierlaune? Sometimes I'm in a bar and they're playing some music like the Tiffany song, and I just hear it, and I've got a pretty good ear now to know what's going to work really, really well. Like something that's very simple, and I just know it's going to work. People also suggest a lot of songs, and then I have my own kind of like taste of what I really love. Like we're doing a song at the moment by LaRue from this from an album that I don't think was that popular. So yeah, we're doing a song by LaRue that I think most people wouldn't know, but I really love it, and I want to try something. Or we did a Moloko song, or we did Dirty Old Town by the Pogues. And yeah, sometimes there's something, it's a song that I absolutely love, or there's something I want to try. I think I managed to keep it new and interesting by always doing new things, and I do things that really interest me. And yeah, for me, it's definitely not routine, and I never just stick to doing the same thing over and over again. I'm always trying something new, exploring something new, arranging the harmonies and the parts in a different way, how to split the group up, and that keeps it interesting for me.
And English only, or also?
Pretty much English songs, pretty much always in English. Although we've done Das Model by Kraftwerk. Yeah, I haven't, no, not too many other languages. I don't think we've done a French song, or pretty much sort of in pop music, which is often in English anyway.
Yeah, a good French song, which I really love, is from Air, Sexy Boy.
I love Air a lot. Yeah. I love that album. That's a good suggestion, actually. Is it because after that apart from the refrain, the sexy boy, it's
in French,
and it's a good idea because it's quite simple text as well. It's not too much text. Obviously, you can't. Maybe I'll put it on the list.
Yeah, and you already mentioned it. You're rehearsing at Monster Ronson's Ichiban Karaoke, which is actually one of my favorite places in Berlin. Yes. How did you end up there?
Well, this was just a really, really nice fit. It's great. It's a great fit because obviously there's something similar between karaoke and what we're doing, but it's different in that in karaoke, I think everybody wants to be the star and they want to have the microphone and they want to be at the front. In the choir, I think it's got a different quality that people love to be, well, firstly, the communication and the togetherness of doing something so nice together. And also maybe they don't want to stand out too much. They want to sing, but not be too much on display. So, but we do the same kind of music. We do pop music. It's a very relaxed feel. There's a bar there, and people get a drink and have a wine. And
do you allow them to drink during the rehearsals?
Yeah, I positively encourage it. got to wind myself. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There's no stress about, I think I have to be quite strict about people not talking when another section is trying to learn, because that's, it's rude firstly. And also it's impossible. If we aren't all quiet together, we're never going to make any progression. So I'm strict about that, but I'm not strict about drinking or, people can even come in a little bit late and, Frederick's at the door and checks them in and it's okay. And yes, I guess it's that, English idiosyncrasy. There's not too many rules.
Yeah. And did you have other venues where you used to rehearse before you went to Monster?
I did. Well, I started off in my living room.
This one here where we are sitting?
No. Actually, it was my partner's next door. And so it started off there. And there was really like 6 or 7 people. But I knew from the beginning that I loved it. I loved doing the arrangements was something that really motivated me to keep doing it. Yeah, so the arrangements really motivated me at first, and there was just a few people, but I could see, that it's the energy that you create, because they love singing so much, and I'm really excited that I've got this arrangement that I want to teach them, and then the energy starts going round and round, and I like, in a way, it's like an audience and a teacher, or it's almost like an event, but then it's not. We're doing it all together as well. It's a group experience. So I think it's quite unusual, and I think people really need that these days, where everything's online, and there's always this distance, and there's this everything's up on in these huge concerts, there's big video screens, and people don't really get a chance to feel involved. And I think what's really unique about what we're doing at the Berlin Pop Choir is that everybody is part of that, and everybody's performing, and everyone's singing together, and it's all.
And also create a safe space if you have so many people, I guess.
Exactly, completely. And what was I forgot the root of that question.
Where you rehearsed before Monster.
Yes. So we started off in this living room, and then I had it in my head from the beginning that it was going to be really big, and I was going to have pop choirs all over Berlin. So I started a second one in Prenzlauer Berg, and that was in a small shop cafe place. So I had one in Prenzlauer Berg, and I had one here in Kreuzberg. And then, it was, I found out quickly that it wasn't as easy as you might think to keep the numbers coming. And people would come for a few months or something, and then they'd move on. They'd do something else, which is, what people do. They find another hobby. So then I got the idea to combine them both together. And I remembered that I knew Ron years ago, who runs Monster Ensemble. It's his place. I knew him years ago when he used to do punk karaoke out the back of his van. So, and then I knew he had this place, and it seemed like a really good idea. And he was really generous and supported me, and, said, well, I can give you the space, and I won't book out the karaoke booths either side of you, because otherwise it's too noisy. So that was very nice of him. Like, now we're so loud. The people in the karaoke booths can't hear themselves. Yeah. So it was mainly just that I knew him, and he was really enthusiastic and really welcomed us. And it's turned into a really nice partnership.
Oh, nice one. One last question about the shows of the Berlin Pop Choir. So I noticed also on the YouTube videos that you always have kind of a dress code with the shows. Why that?
I think, well, it makes it more fun, I think. And again, it's about everyone trying to get people a bit more involved in the experience. And it's very simple. We just have this time we're going to wear red, and this time we're going to wear green, and this time we're going to wear stripes. And I think it makes a lot of difference when people, if you're actually performing, if you feel like you're performing. And I think for a lot of people, they may have never performed before, they may have never have been on a stage before, so it just makes them feel a little bit more like, right, I'm actually performing tonight. And and I mean, it looks really nice on the videos.
It does indeed.
Yeah, and it's just it's something that sort of unites everybody that night a little bit more as well. And because at Christmas everyone's like wearing Christmas clothes
and Weihnachtsmann.
Yeah, well, I try to ban those, but there's always one or two that comes in.
We already touched the subject of the Berlin Pop Ensemble. So and we also mentioned there were auditions to the Berlin Pop Ensemble. So who can join the Berlin Pop Ensemble then? What are the the barriers or the, I don't know, I'm missing the English word right now.
Criteria, maybe?
Yeah.
Well, only the
best of the best.
Well, no, to be honest, no. I mean, they are all... Don't get me wrong, they're amazing.
Yeah.
Everybody in the ensemble is amazing.
Yeah.
And has definitely got, I mean, I say you have to have a good feel for music. So there are people in the Berlin Pop Choir who maybe can't sing completely in tune. And, you know, that's absolutely fine. But in the Berlin Pop Ensemble, you need to be able to sing in tune, and you need to be able to, it's really, I mean, we do have sheet music, we have notes to read. So
do you have to be able to read notes?
Well, I say no, you don't have to be able to read notes, but if you don't, you should learn. And we help people learn, and because you can just move so much faster if people can actually read music, and you can refer to, let's take it from bar 27 or whatever. So yes, and they need to have a feel for music. So you don't necessarily need musical training, but to have a good sense of rhythm and to understand how music works, and to be able to, or, at least to do some work at home. They have to do some work at home, and we're sort of, we're setting the bar a little bit higher about the standard of what we're doing. So there's a bit more work involved.
And how often do you rehearse with these guys, with the Berlin Pop Ensemble?
It's the same structure, so 10 weeks, and sometimes we do a few extra rehearsals if we've got a performance coming up, so 10 weeks as well. And the Berlin Pop Ensemble also sings at the performance with the Berlin Pop Choir, but they don't just learn songs each course. We have an ongoing repertoire, and
they take some out of these and then perform it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And what are your aims or your targets for the Berlin Pop Ensemble?
Well, I'm still trying to work that out. I think for me, I wanted to challenge myself even more with the arrangements I'm doing, and we sometimes go up into even like 8-part harmony or something. So there's a lot more going on in the arrangements, and there's a lot more, it's more difficult. And not everybody's singing all of the time. There's much more weaving of the different voices. So I don't know. I mean, I would love to work with more in different areas, maybe more in theatre or more. I don't know. I'm still trying to work out what's going to happen with the ensemble. For now, we're doing as many performances as we can and building up a really good repertoire. I think we're singing songs that nobody else is singing, and I think to become world famous would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, I on YouTube there are plenty of videos from the Berlin Pop Ensemble as well, and I saw that you guys won prizes. So what prizes have you won?
Did we?
I think so. At least you were in some very big event with a jury, and I'm not talking about the Voice for Germany, but something else. I can't remember what it was exactly.
I don't know. Well, I mean, we were selected to be part of the Berlin Music Week. Did these? I think it was called First We Take the Streets, and singing on the streets. But they had a certain amount of slots that they were looking for people to sing. So we got selected for one of those, which was great last summer. Didn't really win a prize.
I thought it was, but I really can't remember the video that I saw and what occasion it was.
Let me think. We've been. Yeah, there's a really big choir scene in Berlin. I mean, I didn't realize how many choirs there are in Berlin. I heard the number 2,000 choirs, and I wouldn't be surprised. There are lots and lots, and there's a real kind of there's a sort of a real scene of choirs, and there's these big choir festivals, and we're slowly starting to get invited into that scene. And I think this is when I realise how different our choir is.
Yeah.
Everyone else is quite formal and beautiful singing, and I think we're a little bit more kind of relaxed and. Yeah, but I think the arrangements we're doing are quite different as well, and so I think maybe you saw something from that, one of these big choir festivals with a big stage.
Maybe. So, what would you say? What was your biggest stage appearance with the Berlin Pop Ensemble?
With the Berlin Pop Ensemble. Well, we were invited to do a performance. It's called Blauer Mittwoch, and it was in Frankfurt Oder.
Maybe I saw this one.
That's what you saw.
Yeah.
I bet that's what you saw.
Yeah.
And this was quite
because I think
amazing.
it was in Frankfurt Oder.
Yeah, and they have this incredible theatre over there, like a really sophisticated theatre, like proper changing rooms and backstage, and like, you know.
Or maybe we can apply with our improv group.
Totally. Well, and they do, it's like an old school verite kind of show, and we only did 2 songs, and it's like you do 2 songs and then you like run on and you run off, and then someone else comes along and does a magic trick, and then someone comes along and does like maybe a stand-up sort of routine or something, and everyone just performs very quickly. I think maybe we did 3 songs, but everyone just has a short slot, and then you come back for a second slot, and then at the end everybody stands on the stage. And the theatre was packed, and this was Blauer Mittwoch. It was a Wednesday night. Maybe there's not too much else going on a Wednesday night, and the entire theatre was packed. So that was really big. That was our biggest show. Unfortunately, I had my back to the audience. This is the only downside of being a choir director, is of course you've got your back to the audience. But anyway, there was lots of people.
So yeah, what's then the next milestone to achieve?
Well, it would be. I would like to do more performances, maybe like in a sort of stages, like in sort of with other musicians. So I'd like to sort of maybe establish us a bit more of, where we're actually like kind of an act, like a band or something. I don't know if that, with 30 of us, there's quite a lot of us to get on stage. Yeah, so, it would be great to be invited to perform at, bigger places. And, we've got a few concerts coming up this summer. We're doing one in Kladau, and that's a choir festival. And then we're doing the Berlin Pop Choir, an ensemble performance, and then also an arts festival in Lichtenberg. Hopefully we'll be doing something with Berlin Music Week. So there's a lot.
Oh yeah, and are you also performing or doing work as a solo artist?
Yeah, not as much these days, because I got really, really sort of obsessed with the whole arrangements, and harmony is my big obsession. So working with the choir is perfect. But I still do some writing, and I'm just heading off to do a workshop with Idris Akmor and the Pyramids this evening, and that's going to be performed in the Torstrasse Festival. So, and I'm still writing and performing.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of music do you play as a solo artist?
Well, it's really changed. I started off with acoustic guitar. I've done more stuff with electronics. I write songs and unsurprisingly quite poppy melodies. I've
so no particular genre?
Not really. I suppose you could loosely say singer-songwriter, which is a pretty huge genre. Girl and guitar kind of thing, really.
Do you have a dream, or what is your dream if you have one?
God. Well, it keeps changing.
That's good. For the audience, the crunching noises are the cat, which is crunching its not its bones, but its food.
Likes to be the center of attention. I think I would love my arrangements to become sort of more known, and I've started to get quite a few inquiries from people who are interested in the arrangements and maybe want to sing them with their choir. So I think that's really exciting. I'm just starting with the Berlin Pop Choir to work with an artist called E.C. Davis, an artist from England who's just got Arts Council funding. And I'm always interested in moving the concept a bit in a different way. So we're going to be working with her, and we're going to be collaborating on generating maybe some songs and some stuff that we're going to be doing as a choir, but from a more sort of, from an art angle rather than just purely a choir musical angle. So I'm excited about that. And of course I'd love for the Berlin Pop Ensemble to be flown around the world. But that's not really possible for a whole choir. I think it's very rare. Maybe the Rundfunkchor gets flown around the world.
It never harms to dream, I guess.
Yeah, no harm in dreaming. And just to keep expanding the concept and to to keep finding it exciting.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So, do you have like your all-time favorite song?
Oh God, that changes every week as well. But my favorite band ever is the Velvet Underground. So, and that's almost like the perfect sort of example of how I love pop music and very, very sort of obvious pop music with very unusual angles and an alternative kind of more avant-garde and more atonal kind of atmosphere as well. So, but pop song, I mean, I love Walk Away Renee. I'm a big Walk Away Renee. I'm a big 60s fan.
Who's the artist?
They're called The Left Bank. And this is just a great song.
Okay, I need to check it out tonight.
No, it's really great. I like Robin a lot. Yeah.
Okay. But Robin, because you have this one song that you perform from Robin, but she's not a very popular artist, or is she? I think I knew her voice from what she's singing with Roy
Scott. Yeah, that's right. Right. Yeah, I mean, there's a real mixture, I think, between songs that everybody knows, like Tiffany, and a lot of the songs we do people have never heard of before. So yeah, what are we doing this time? We're doing an old Crosby, Stills and Nash, who of course everybody knows, and LaRue, who people know, but I don't think they know this album or the song that we're doing from this album. It's called Kiss and Not Tell. I don't think people know that very well. And and we're doing Personal Jesus at the moment, which is obviously very famous. And what's the other one? I have to. My mind always goes blank on these. I have to suddenly remember the songs we're doing. What is it? Because I think Charlie XCX. She's quite big. So quite commercial. So yeah, there's a mixture, but we've done kind of weirder stuff as well.
And you said your favorite song switches from week to week. So what's your favorite song this week?
This week. Just put me on the spot. What have I been listening to on loop at the moment? I'm back on David Bowie's Station to Station again this week, which is just an amazing song. What else was I listening to a lot this week is I have to get my iPhone. Well, my favorite song this week is I was listening to the new Sufjan Stevens album is really lovely. One of those on there, and Björk I'm listening to. Favorite. Yeah, let's say Station to Station.
Okay. And is there any living artist that you would love to perform with on stage?
David Bowie, obviously. Huge David Bowie fan. Yeah, it would have been Lou Reed, but unfortunately he's not around anymore. Björk would be amazing.
She's in Berlin.
I've got a ticket already. And she does work with choirs, but I mean, really fantastic kind of Icelandic, Inuit choirs, and she works with amazing choirs. Yeah. But I'd love to work with her.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't?
And coming slowly to an end. So where can people see you perform the next time, as a solo artist or with your choir?
Well, so not so much of a solo artist, but I said I'm working on this project that's going to be at the Torstrasse Festival on, is it June the 3rd? No, not June the 13th, June the 8th or something, I think, but that's quite easy to find out. The Berlin Pop Ensemble are singing on June the 14th in the choir festival Kladau. On the 16th is the Berlin Pop Choir, the next big Berlin Pop Choir performance, and the Berlin Pop Ensemble will be singing then as well. And then the Berlin Pop Ensemble are also singing on July the 4th at Herzberger Licht.
Oh, okay. Yeah, is there anything else you would like to say or tell our audience, any message or whatever?
Come and join us. Come and join the Berlin Pop Choir. It's open to everybody and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And don't sit around thinking you can't sing and that you can't be part of a choir and that you haven't done it for so long that it's too late. It's never too late, and it's so good for you. Makes you feel amazing.
Yeah, great. Lyndsey, do you have an own website?
Yeah, lyndseycockwell.com is my own website, and berlinpopchoir.de and berlinpopensemble.de.
All in one phrase, no hyphens or anything. Yeah, great. So I thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's been nice talking to you.
Yeah, and for having me here, for inviting me.
You're welcome.
Ja, liebe Leute, das war's mit Lyndsey Cockwell. Mein nächster Podcast ist hoffentlich im Juli. Das war Folge 26. Mein Name ist Claudia Hoppe und ich sag Tschüss.
Tschüss.